Good morning, good day and good evening. How you doing, everyone? Today we are once again, surprisingly enough, going to continue with the Game Jam game. I did do a little bit of progress off stream yesterday, which I'll go through with you guys. What's up, Zifat? How you doing? Nice to see you, man. So what did I do? I did just add a few more of the items into the actual scene. They're not like fully working yet, but I mean, some of them are. The box is a very simple item, it's just open close, so that one is basically fully functioning as of right now. Why did this take so fucking long? Let's see. And we also did the vase and the vent, which is going to like alert the enemy. The vase is basically working. The vent, we do need to make the whole thing where it double checks if you have the right item. And then we need to fix the box. Not bad, man. How you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good, to be honest. Glad to hear you're doing nice as well. I am just really hyped about this game, to be honest. I'm actually really motivated. So it's fun, I'm enjoying it. What else did I do? Here I didn't really add too much. However, I started making some more UI elements. So this will be like the different toggles and the, the sliders and drop down for the settings. Because obviously we don't want the settings to look like this. This doesn't fit into the game whatsoever, so I thought we do need to change like all the UI elements here to make it fit into the rest of the game. So that will basically be this stuff. Shit, the monster art is looking spooky. Yeah, I'm quite happy with it actually. It is, and it's even creepier in game, because that's actually one thing I added. He does actually have lightning now, so yeah, I think it got even worse with that. Not only that, we actually have the jump scare sound effect now. So we're gonna be able to add that into the game today, which means that this is gonna start getting bad. Like I'm getting to the point now where I'm not gonna be able to playtest this game myself without like actually shitting myself. And not only that, we have spooky footsteps as well. Those will be a little bit more complicated to actually add into the game, because we need some... Because what I was planning on doing is to like raise the volume the closer it is to the door, so we do have to make a little bit of coding to actually make that kind of work, but I think it's gonna be... good. So we have Bjarne, one of the guys here in the community, one of my moderators, doing all the music and sound effects for this game. And they're really good. Like the jump scare is gonna make this bad, and I mean that in the best possible way. I also decided to make this little like inventory button, because I do think we're gonna make it so that you like click to open up your inventory and check what you have. I actually think that could be pretty cool, because then we could actually keep the inventory being with like lit materials. Just the kind of fun thing then. It's basically going to feel like you actually open up the inventory and need to use the flashlight to see what you have like in the bag, which I think is gonna be a little bit cool and add a little bit more stress to the game as well. So that's why we have this little bag button here. Epic, cheers, man. And yeah, some text like you died, the end. We need a little pause menu at some point, so did that as well. Also did this bloody little transition thing. Not entirely sure whether we're gonna use it or not, but I thought we could at least try. So the plan was basically to do something like, after you get the jump scare, you could have like a animation when this just goes down, basically covers the entire screen, then we can fade it out, and then like you died, blah blah blah, retry, go to the main menu, whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is I think that means we are all caught up. So should we start off by adding a few sound effects? Since I have already added them into the assets, we just need to go ahead, go here. And then jump scare, you are going to be the jump scare sound. Made sense, doesn't it? And not only that, we also have a flashlight sound. So flashlight on off. Yeah. That is it. And then, like I said, we also do have the footsteps, but I think we're gonna wait. We could try adding them today. It is going to be a little bit of work though. Okay, should we try the jump scare with the sound? See how bad it actually gets. I was also thinking, I don't know, maybe if I'm actually doing this in a bad way, because I did obviously here kind of decide to go and have like a very low lighting so that you still can kind of see what's going on in the background even when the light is off. But I guess it's kind of like objectively scarier if you can't see anything, because the eyes of the monster is still like actually not a lit material, so those will always be visible. But I do suppose that this looks even more scary when you actually can't see anything outside of the flashlight. So maybe this is how we should do it. Because as long as we can see the flashlight, just so you know where to turn it on again, it is technically fine. Like, we don't need to see this stuff. Let's go into the game manager and go for game started. Because now, when he comes, you should still be able to see, yeah, you can still see his eyes. So like technically the game is still fully functioning, even if you can't see anything when the light is off. And like I said, I guess it might be scary. Okay, everyone, warning, jump scare warning. We're gonna test the effect. I think that's gonna be pretty bad. I wonder if we should raise the volume a little bit on it though. I might have lowered it a bit much. Damn, I haven't been in a minute, that's looking cool. Yeah, thanks man, I appreciate that. To be fair, like, I think we did get a lot of progress last stream. So, yeah. Just that's when we started, like, adding the art and getting this flashlight effect and stuff working, which I'm really satisfied with. That's good, nice. I'll try to master all the volumes. Oh! I did forget I started the game, sorry about that one. To be clear, I feel like I have to make some disclaimers here. I am developing a horror game. There is going to be accidental jump scares every now and then. I feel like that's kind of impossible to get around. So, yeah, just be aware. Just be aware of that. It's going to happen. And at some point I am gonna actually scare myself accidentally. Yeah, put it in the stream title. I think I actually need to, because I'm gonna accidentally do that a few times. The good thing is that as long as I don't check the game started, the monster will not actually do anything. So it's just gonna stay over here. So a lot of the game programming we can do without the potential of jump scares. But yeah, I probably shouldn't I? Not a massive issue. Okay, let's see. What are we gonna do? I think there are a few objects I would like to make work, which should be really quick. I feel like the light switch should be quite fun to get working, and shouldn't be too bad. So let's see, we should have that as an object, don't we? Objects, light switch. So what we're gonna do, I think we're gonna make a new script called... Wait, do I have a script called light switch? I'm confused. No, I don't. Do I? Oh yeah, this is the old one that we used for... before we had the flashlight. Potentially brings more clicks though. Can do. That's true. Okay, so let's see. This is going to change. Light switch will not derive from clickable object nor this. You know what? Let's just delete everything. And light switch is going to derive from object swap object. And I think we're gonna make a bool here as well, which is like turn on light. So we check that whether this button is going to turn on or off the light. And then we're also going to have a public bool called maybe broken light or something. Because this one is not actually gonna work, but we might as well make a script that we could use for a working light switch if that is ever something we want to implement. Because then here we can what can we do? We make an override on the onClick function. We do want to call the bass, because that will give us like the sound effect and stuff. Oh yeah, we also need a... We need a public game object, which is called the lamp object. And I think this might be broken lamp instead. So turn on the light, and then we check whether or not the lamp is broken. Because then what I think we can do is to, in the onClick function, let's see, what do we call on the onClick? Then we say that, yeah, we start the new... we might have to redo the entire one. Because I think we're gonna handle this in two different ways, where if the light is on, or if the light is working, then we can just turn on the lamp with light. If it's broken, I think we're gonna flip the switch up, flip it down again, and just make like a spark on the light, which is how this one is gonna do. So if we take a look at this lamp, we have this little, just a spark. So I think if you try to flip it on, it's just gonna be like a quick little spark, and then this is gonna automatically flip down again. Whereas if we would like to have this one working, what we then would have done instead is to add a 2D light on this one and turn that light on and keep the switch on. I'm not sure we're gonna have functioning lights in this game, but it's not really that hard to program, so I might do it just for flexibility in case we ever want it in the future. So that means we actually... Do we even need the... Oh yeah, we need this one because if you... Yeah, the new object, this is actually going to refer to the light switch, whether it's gonna point upwards or down. So we do need a lamp object. We might even do like a lamp off object. Because here we're not doing this with sprite, we're actually doing it with game objects, turning on or off different game objects. Like you see here, we have this is a full lamp with a spark, and we also have a just normal lamp. Same thing with the switch, we have this one is pointing down, so what we're gonna do is turn this off and just turn on the switch pointing upwards. So that's an easy way of doing it, where we can always control individual like hitboxes and stuff for like important stuff, like for example this like tablecloth. The hitbox obviously changes a lot when you interact with it, because now this entire thing is the hitbox, but when we click it, if the light is on, now only this should be the hitbox, right? Because otherwise, if I click here to pick up the key, I would actually click on the tablecloth instead, which would be annoying. So that's why I decided to kind of do it with game objects and stuff instead. I'm not even sure we're gonna... Oh, now we can actually call the... Yeah, because we're always gonna do this stuff. That's fine. So we can call the base on click. But what we're also going to do is... we need to check whether the lamp is broken or not. So that's the first important thing. So check if broken lamp. And if the lamp is broken, then we actually need to start a coroutine. Start coroutine. Maybe like flash light spark. I don't know. So we make a enumerator called light spark. And what this one is going to do, now when we click this one, we're gonna change the... we are going to change the sprite of the switch. So we need to wait and change that one back. So what we're gonna do is that we are going to say lamp off object, we're gonna set off. Lamp on object, we will set to true. Because in this case the lamp on object will actually be the sparking animation or whatever. And then we're gonna yield return new, wait 4 seconds. Would enums be good here? I don't know. Maybe. I should admit, I don't have a lot of experience with enums. The only times I've used actual enums, if you don't, because enum is not referring to an enumerator like this, right? Enum is a different things where you can have like different states, kind of, right? The only times I've actually used enums is when ChatGPT has told me to use enums, so I'm not like super good with enums myself. Enum direction, northeast, southwest. Start direction, my direction. If direction is equal to direction north, it becomes south. I think enums can be good for managing what state a game object is in. Yeah, that's what that's kind of what I've used it for before, I think. Like I said, I probably haven't thought enough about how to actually implement it myself, just that has been with like ChatGPT's help. But I do think that, because when I've used them, I did use them in my turn-based game for like handling the different states of the turn-based combat, so we would have like whether it would be like an enum, I think, whether it was the player's turn or the enemy's turn or like the in-between time or whatever, and it would like switch the enum. So that's why when I think of it, I do kind of like different states is kind of how I view it. If you're not too familiar with them, it's probably best to just do what you reckon. Yeah, now this is also going to work, but I do think definitely, yeah, like you said, I should look into enums more because they seem just, is that not basically what you would use to make an entire state machine for like an enemy AI? Wouldn't that be like you would have different enums for like being idle or like having seen the player or like running after the player, stuff like that? Is that not kind of how you would do that part, I think? So I think an enemy AI should obviously be very important. So for example here, like this monster probably should have had an actual state machine. I made it with like a bunch of if-else statements. But a decent programmer probably would have made him to have like an actual state machine or something. Yep, yeah, I should definitely look into it. We should always try and go back and fix this stuff later on, because I don't know if I really announced this last stream. I think I did. But I do think I'm actually going to make this into a full game even after the game jam and continue working on it, probably making it a bit more of a, you know, full game experience, and possibly even release it on Steam. I am actually hyped for this game, so I think that could be a possibility. Sick, yeah, I'm feeling good about it. Let's see, how long should the light flash? Let's try like half a second, that might even be a bit too much. So now we turn on the lamp on object, wait half a second, then we are basically doing the complete opposite. So we're gonna turn the lamp on object back on again. And turn off the lamp on object, exactly. And now we actually also need to switch back the sprite of the light switch itself. Which is the new object, and then we have game object. So what we're gonna do is that we need to set...
Red Rucker is forcing you to stand up for 10 minutes.
Oh shit. What's up, Rucker? How you doing, man? Nice to see you. I don't scam. I don't scam. It's a little bit slow, this thing. I feel like it almost feels comical to just wait for my desk to reach my heights. What a redeem, indeed. Indeed. How you doing, Rucker? Nice to see you, man. New object set active false. I think this should work. So if it's broken, then just do a Twitch spark and turn back. I think since we do turn on the new game object, which would be the off switch, I think it's good to have a... Oh no, we do have a bool for interactable, so let's just not make the off switch interactable. Just otherwise you might start messing around where you could turn on this one, and during the spark you could hit the off switch, and that might do something weird. What's the state of the game like now? I feel like we are in a really good state, to be honest. We have most of the basic functions to make almost all the objects we want. And yeah, we have a good light system, the monster is basically fully functioning. And we just started adding some sound effects, so the game is gonna start getting a bit more creepy. So yeah, we have a lot of interactable objects. some of which will even alert the monster, like if you accidentally knock over this vase, he is going to start running towards the door. Now he is off, so he's not actually gonna do it, because the game hasn't started. Jump scare warning, everybody, there is a jump scare incoming. We do have the sound effect now, so... Like, if you're not prepared for this, I think it's gonna be really fucking bad. I don't know, the volume might be a little bit low for you guys now, but... yeah, I think it's gonna be good. Nice, thank you, man. Yeah, so trying to make this light switch work, so that we can get a little spark from the light. Oh, I just realized, is that even going to be visible? Oh yeah, no, because if you hold here, you almost don't see the lamp. What I think we're gonna do, that's actually gonna look real nice, is that it's a lamp. So let's just add a very slight lightning effect to it. Because then it will actually light up for like a split second, which I think is gonna look very good. Nice, I mean I hate it, but in a good way. That's exactly how I feel, man. So I know what you mean. The light isn't centered though. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a child object, which we call light, because that means that we will be able to move the child object separately and just place it like here instead. So now, when you turn off the lamp, it's going to give like a quick little spark like this. I think that's gonna look pretty decent. So, there we have. Maybe we should finish this though, just so that it's working. So, if the lamp isn't broken, then you check whether you're supposed to turn on the light or not. So, if turn on light, if you should turn the light on, then we should basically do this. And the base on click is always gonna fix the light switch in the correct way, so that's fine. It's only here we need to turn it back, because that would kinda happen automatically. And otherwise, that means that you should turn the light off, so we are just going to do the complete opposite. And now we should have a flexible light switch script, as far as I know. So let me turn on the test light so we actually see what we're doing here. We're gonna take the light switch. For now, let's actually do the flashlight sound effect. I think that's gonna work pretty good for this one as well. I do think we called it flashlight. That's the second sound effect we have at the moment. That Bjarne made for us. We have the flashlight sound effect and the jump scare. I also have the creepy footsteps that we can add, so we might look at doing that after this, because I feel like that's gonna add a lot of like the creepy ambience to the game, you know? Let's see here. So this is switch off, which should... The new game object, that's going to be the other switch, so the switch on, is not going to alert the monster. And it's not going to technically turn on the lamp, it's going to be a broken lamp, so it's gonna start that IE enumerator we did. And then, here we have the lamp. So, lamp off object is the lamp. Lamp on object is the lamp spark. And then this one, the switch on, This is a little bit confusing because this object is called switch on because the switch is on, but that means that the interaction is the switch off. I need to keep that in mind. That might be a little bit confusing at some point. It does kind of make sense, but it also kinda doesn't. So the name here suggests what state the switch is in, which is the opposite to what it would do if you interact with it. Let's see here, light switch. And this one, in this case, the interactable, we are just going to turn off. Like, you are not supposed to be able to interact with the on switch, because that one will just flip for like a second just to give some more interaction or whatever. So I think that should be it really, shouldn't it? Turn off the test light. Let's double check that the game started is not checked, so we won't get a surprise jump scare. Now we should be able to... Nope. Coroutine couldn't start because the game object switch off was inactive. Oh. Oh, I can't start the... Okay, maybe we need to make a lamp script then. Because now I think the issue is that we start this coroutine, but then I technically turn off this switch. Oh, but that's annoying because we need to turn this one... No, okay, the way we're gonna do this... Switches are never really going to be other sizes, so it doesn't matter. We can actually take this script and we're gonna put it on the parent object instead. That means it's in the on base one. The base on click is going to try and turn off itself. That's no bueno. So we're gonna remove you. And I go to clickable object, and we're gonna take this stuff. Because now when we don't have the on base, we need to make sure that this stuff is called. And then that's just to switch the objects, that's fine. So now we need to instead make references to the child object, which will be switch off and switch on. And then on click. Oh yeah, then we can keep the... Yeah, because this will never be... This object will never be disabled, so the IEnumerator can stay here. But this game object can't be set to... Oh wait, yeah, we still have the new object. So we could actually use that reference instead, and thus... we could just do something like... Let's call it old or current objects. We'll just add that. No, that doesn't work. Okay, if turn on light, then you turn it on, and then you say that turn on light is equal to false. That will sort of make this into a toggle, so that should work. That should be fine. If the lamp is broken, we start the light spark coroutine, which will turn off the lamp off object, turn on the true one, wait for half a second. lamp off. We'll then reverse that, and then this we can't do. We need okay, I think we're just gonna switch these out. So yeah, normally it would be current object.setActive, and then new objects we turn off. That should work for the IEnumerator, just it will never call the onLight. Or it will never call this part of the function. If we do this though, I think we need to switch. No, let's make sure that current object should always be the off switch. So let's actually rename this into switch off, just to be as clear as possible. A new object will be the switch on. So that means that if you turn on the light, then you will say that switch off should be disabled and new object should be enabled. And then if you instead turn the light off, then the switch off should be true. And that one should be false. Okay, I think that's the way to go. Now we can remove the scripts from these. And here we say interactable flashlight. New objects should be switch on. Switch off is this one. Turn on light we leave unchecked. Broken lamp is checked. Okay, let's see if this works instead. Now we do have a little spark. The spark should definitely be quicker. And it doesn't seem like we are switching the switch object correctly. Oh yeah, because now we actually need to do this in the beginning as well. But the opposite, since we changed the on base thing. I don't know if I'm making sense, I'm just talking out loud to be honest. Let's maybe half the time it flashes, because that felt a little bit long. And I also think we should make the light, it looks a little bit weird that it lights up the wall behind it like that. So maybe we should decrease the radius. Nah, I think we're gonna do a freeform. Okay, what the fuck am I supposed to do here, fam? I can't see where I'm supposed to... Oh wait, do I need to go for this one maybe? No? Oh, here we go. Here we go. So, I think we're gonna do just the lamp itself, which would be something like this. Oh, is that gonna look weird? That looks too perfect, doesn't it? Ball of strength. Intensity. Okay. That looked weird. Let's just make the spot one smaller. I think that might be better. Put it like here. And maybe do something like so. Yeah, that's probably fine. Okay, let's see. I do think it still needs to be quicker. Because a spark like that would be quite instantaneous. I also think that theoretically it's very weird that it would light up the top of the lamp. So it should probably be more like this. Because it can't light up the top of itself, you know? Yeah, something like that. I think this will look... It will feel nice, I think, if we have a little bit of like a spark sound effect. I feel like this is gonna make sense. I think it should be quicker though. I actually think so. Maybe almost halve it again. Yeah, something like that, maybe. The inventory would be nice to make as well. We also have these two objects which are not fully functioning. This one kind of is. We just don't have the screwdriver object yet, which is going to be the thing you need to unscrew this vent. This one, we actually need to change the art of a little bit. Because we can't have the inside be part of the object like this, because then we can't actually put anything inside of it. But that's a really easy change. All we need to do is to take the crate, take the inside, and we are going to just, boom, make you into a separate game object. And that is basically all we need to do to get that to work. So we're gonna export this as objects, correct? And now should be able to go in here. Select this little bugger, which is going to be create 0. Apply. So we might change this like layout here, because right now this is basically just to get multiple objects working, because that will make it easier in the future to try and make new rooms and new puzzles by just having like pre-made objects that we can place inside the room. So we're basically gonna be able to continue making rooms without even programming. Make the whole game a setup for an intense, highly detailed screwdriver vent minigame. That could be a fun plot twist. Open prefab. No. Oh, it's so annoying working with prefabs. Apply. Open. You go here. This is gonna be create base, maybe. Which is this one. Now we have to make sure that if we turn off the closed one, turn on the open one, then we set this to native size. We have to make sure that this lines up. Like so. Because now if we place an object in between here, it should be covered by the outside, but not by the inside. And now we can turn this into a item dependent clickable object. We do need to make a few more items. So, scriptables, we have a door key and a trapdoor key. We need to create item, which we are going to call hammer. Item name is going to be hammer. Let's see here. How do we do this? We are going to yeah, we're gonna find the trapdoor key, which we're going to duplicate. Do we have the sprite for the hammer? We don't. I do think the new plan for the inventory system is gonna work quite nicely though. And we do have different sprites just to make it even more visible. So basically we have in some cases, like this is the key you actually find in the scene, but this is going to be the key you have in the inventory. Just to make it pop a little bit more. And I think something I thought about we could do, which would maybe look quite nice, is if we made it so that after you select an item, your cursor actually becomes the item you selected. Because then it really feels like you're actually using the item, you know. I feel like that could look pretty neat. Oh yeah, and the same thing here, like these are the hammer parts in the inventory, whereas... Oh wait, that's confusing. Yeah, this... No, this is the inventory. Oh, I made them really big out here, didn't I? That's gonna work though. That would be fine. Because it should be quite a bit bigger than a little key. And yeah, these are the inventory objects. Okay, let's cut some of those out. So the hammer will be this one. This is going to be... How do I call this? Inv key, meaning inventory key. So this will be inventory hammer. Inventory hammer shaft, I think you would call that. And this would be inventory hammer head. This would be screw driver. Hammer shaft. Hammer head. Inventory screw driver. Trapdoor key 1, we are going to unpatch completely, rename into hammer. The item is the hammer metal pickup, maybe, let's leave it for now. And the sprite will of course be, well, technically this will be the inventory hammer. Boom. Item object has not been... Okay, so we go to scriptables, hammer. Now, first of all, we need to go to objects, collectibles, make sure that this hammer is now a prefab. Then we go to scriptables, hammer. The hammer prefab will be the item object. Now we should be able to pick that up, I think. Yep, we do have it in the inventory. Create Unity coded. Thank you for that follow. Let's see, required item hammer. New object is the... Whoops, you are not placed on the right item. You should be on the closed crate. Sound effect. I don't know, let's leave the sound effect for now. Let's do select, just to have something. New object is going to be the open crate. This is going to alert the monster, because if you smash a crate you would imagine that it makes quite a noise. Remove required item. No. I feel like keys make sense that they become removed. But like, if you have a hammer, I suppose you should still have the hammer after you use it. Unsuccessful sound. Let's just do select that as well. Alert monster on fail. No, it's only when you actually break it that we're going to alert the monster. Let's see now. Now if we turn off the test light just for the setting here. Now if we click the crate, yeah, we get the sound effect, but it doesn't actually break it. However, if we pick up the hammer, select the hammer and use it on the crate, we actually smash it open. Sweet! And now, similarly, we can make yet another game object, which is going to be screwdriver. Which means we also need a new scriptable object called screwdriver with the name screwdriver, and the item object will be... no, wait. Let's fix this first. The sprite should be... so let's see. This is confusing. How should I do this? I think we're gonna make a new item called like inventory item that we can add here as well, so that the item object is the one you actually find in the scene, and then the inventory object is the one that will spawn in your inventory. I think that might be a good way of doing this. So we just add a public game object, which we are going to call inventory object, which is then in the collectible item. All we do is that we tell the inventory manager that we have this item, which I don't even need. I don't even know if we need this anymore. To be honest, we could just place the new item in the inventory, and that's pretty much all we need. Or do we actually ever check if you have the item besides this one function? Inventory manager. Can I not see that here? As item, can I... one reference from collectible. Yeah, so that's the only place we actually check if we have the item like this. I don't think we need this list anymore of items in inventory. Like, it's almost better to only... like, the list of your items will actually be whatever item object you actually have on the inventory transform. You know? There's no reason to keep a separate list of these items, I think. Because there's no reason why we ever need to check. I don't think we need to check if the player has an item in the inventory. Because the only time we actually do it is when you try to use it on a object or item dependent object. Then we check whether the selected item, which is different, is the one we need. Please, my friend, look into some way I can look at code offline at some point, because my ADHD brain can't keep track. That's fair. To be honest here, I can barely keep track, so it's fully understandable that it's hard for you people to do as well, because I think also I'm just not that great at explaining stuff, because I am still like a noobish self-taught programmer, so I'm not entirely sure what I say often makes full sense. Most of the time I'm just thinking out loud and hoping that it maybe makes a little bit of sense to you guys. What's up, Kendonian? Nice to see you, man. Welcome, how you doing? So here we have collectible item, which is a clickable object. That means it's something in the scene that you will collect. I think we should make a new one called inventory item. I think that's a good idea. And then we also have a reference to the inventory object. So, create inventory item. Because then it's easier to like change the, you know, the sprites and the functions and stuff. Because obviously if you click on something in the scene and if you click on it in the inventory, it does different things anyway. Good, how's things? Things are good indeed. I'm glad to hear you doing good, man. I'm hyped about this game. I actually feel really motivated, so it's fun, it's fun. Made sense, I just zone out, lol. Not a slight on you, I'll zone out regardless. No worries, I didn't take it as a slight on me. I'm just saying that I do think I probably could try and like explain what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do in a better way. It was more, yeah, I just think that myself, I didn't take it as a slight in any sense. Okay, inventory item is going to be a clickable object. And any reason it can inherit from the base. For example, inventory is also inheriting from item and then override the parts you need. Any reason it couldn't inherit from the base. For example, inventory is also inheriting from item and then override the parts you need. Maybe. But let's say item is technically the scriptable object. Yeah. Which has the data, but maybe we could do it from collectible item. Because here we already have the reference to item. And then we just override this function. Yeah, I think that's probably better. Because otherwise I'm just creating a new reference to item unnecessarily. Because this one we're gonna override anyway. Welcome back. Yeah, I think it might actually be better to do it that way, where we take the inventory item, and an inventory item will always come from a collectible item, so yeah, we might as well inherit it from collectible item. Then we get this. When I use onClick base, it's going to call not only this one, but also the original one as well, right? Which I don't think I want, because we don't want to call this function. But we do want to call where is it? Clickable objects. We do want this to be called. So I think maybe we don't call the base function, so that we skip this part, and then we just in the inventory item, we just manually add the sound effect and the deselect. No, wait. Oh no, yeah. You do need to deselect any existing item you have. It should only call the derived version. Oh, okay, so only from the last object. So if that one doesn't call the base of the former item, it won't call that one as well. Oh yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, then still we don't want to call the on base, because we don't need any of this on the inventory item. So we're gonna make this into a public. No, we're not. We're gonna make it a protected override void called onClick. We're gonna do this, and then, oh yeah, because here we did it this way instead. We check, that's the reason why we check if the inventory has the item, because if it doesn't, it means we should add the item to the inventory, and otherwise we select the item. So now, if you're on an inventory item and you click it, what you should always do is to select that item. Is that the same code from one of the bases? This is, if that's what you're referring to. But it's from the first base and not the collectible item. It's from the clickable object, which is from this one. But the collectible item overrides that part. I actually don't know why though, because when you pick something up, you should have a sound effect. So we should actually call base onClick. But I don't want to call this part from the inventory item. Change the first base to have that as a method, then for example play sound. Oh yeah! Yeah, so like... Yeah, since this is the... We can keep this as... No, we don't even need to keep it as the base. Yeah, we just do a... So what to do? Can I do this protected as well, or do I need... Yeah, because then it can still be called from all the ones below it, so that should be fine. And it doesn't... We don't even... I don't think we need to have a virtual one here, so we just do a protected void called... I think we're gonna do both, because that will be a kind of staple thing we're gonna do when you click on something, is to play the sound and deselect the item. Nah, let's separate it. We play the sound. And then we deselect whatever item you might have selected. And now we can just call these functions instead. You shouldn't really need that deselect as it's already accessible. Wait, what do you mean? You shouldn't need a deselect as it's already accessible. You mean because we're calling the instance that technically can call it from anywhere anyway? I guess here you've split them. Yeah, I don't know if there might be a reason in the future why I want to do that in later on. Just maybe we'll add more functionality to deselect you're playing. Maybe some item shouldn't deselect, but it should play a sound, or I don't know, maybe it does make it a little bit more flexible. But now if I ever need to retype this somewhere else, it's easier. This doesn't even need that one. Because this means that now in like the inventory item, I don't know if this was how you meant it, but now rule number 1, don't write code for what might happen, only what is currently happening. I guess that's a good... That's probably good, isn't it? Okay, what if we do this? Rather than doing it like this, let's merge these, and then we just call this something more like default. Is this a method or function? I never fucking learn. I think the methods and functions are kind of the same thing, but depending on the language and like engine you're using, they might be different. In Unity is let's take like is start a function or a method. It's considered a method. Specifically, it's a built-in method provided by monobehavior class. In general programming terms, a function is a more generic concept for a block of reusable code, while a method is specifically associated with an object or class, which is why in object-oriented languages like C#, it's called a method. Okay. It's a method which is a local function. Oh. Oh yeah, I see. It's a hardest habit to try and get people to stop. Yeah, no, I do guess it makes sense, because you might actually kinda work against yourself a little bit if you keep on trying to write for what might never even occur, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's call this like the default method, which is to play the sound effect and deselect the item. And then here we can just call the default method. And now, likewise, here we call the base on click, which will call the default method, that's fine. But in the inventory item, we don't want to call the base on click, because that will get all of this unnecessary stuff. So here, we will only call the default method. And then select the item. And that is pretty much all we're gonna do. Looks good? Sweet. Once again, I appreciate the help. I am eager to learn, so it's appreciated. Okay, now, let's see, now we have that one. So technically speaking, this hammer actually isn't a collectible item. Because you will never, I don't think we're gonna have it so that you actually ever pick up a full hammer, because we have the sprites for like a hammer head and a hammer shaft. So I think you need to merge them in the inventory and then get the hammer to use it. Just to add an extra step. Don't want to be that guy through backseat programming, just making suggestions. Don't have to listen to me. No, it's fine. I don't... like I said, to be honest, I don't see you as that guy when you're doing it. And I would say that normally I don't like backseat gaming when I play stuff. A bit of backseat programming I have no issue with, because like I said, I'm quite eager to learn, so if any one of you guys can teach me something that's gonna make me a better programmer, I am very much happy to listen to it. And like we said before, same thing with like ideas for games and stuff. Like, of course I can't promise to implement and do every single thing that people tell me to do, because that might end up not being viable. Like, if I would do every game idea someone suggests me, we would probably never finish the game, you know, if that makes sense. But I will always listen to it, because I might learn a thing or two. Okay, let's see. Inventory hammer. This is not a collectible item. This is actually a inventory item. And the item itself should though be the same. Because then we have the item scriptable object is what basically connects the collectible item and the inventory item. Screwdriver vent minigame when? Exactly. Thank you for making my point. Make this an MMO with Fortnite integration and in VR, easy enough, just tick a few boxes, right? Yeah, exactly. Why can you not just turn on multiplayer? Okay, boom, inventory item, There we go. And now we do have the second one, the screwdriver, which this is for testing, so this also shouldn't be the collectible item. This should be absolutely not the inventory manager. It should be an inventory item. And that item is indeed screwdriver. Let's change this thing, inventory screwdriver. Boom. So now we can't open this one, select the hammer, and we can open it. This one we have to fix though, because that one can always be opened. So the vent, rather the closed vent, should not be a one of those. This should be a item dependent clickable object, which should... New game object is the open vent. It should alert the monster. The required item is the screwdriver. It should not remove the required item. Unsuccessful sound, for now we just do select that as well. Alert monster on fail, no. Man, we're getting so much use out of item dependent clickable, it's awesome. Yeah, no, that's the thing I actually feel really good about in this game, is that so many of my functions, or like these scripts that I've made, are actually like really reusable, which is really nice. That's why I feel like this is such a good base for a game, because if I want to go on, if we make everything kind of work now in one room, every single object, every single item, and like anything is reusable, where we could just make a new room, pop in whatever items we want, whatever objects we want in the room, and build puzzles like super easy. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really good in that way. It's gonna be really easy to build upon and make, like the creation of the content in this game is actually not going to be really through code, because we basically made the base for everything now. And then when we want to make when we want to make more content, we just reuse all of this stuff constantly, which feels like we're gonna get a really good like pipeline. Okay, why is vent not making a noise when I click it? Oh, did I just not hear it? Oh no, I forgot to turn the flashlight on, didn't I? Yeah. There we go. We can't open either of these. If I select the hammer on the vent, it still doesn't work. But if we do the screwdriver on the vent, it opens. If we do the screwdriver on the crate, nothing happens, but the hammer on the crate, it opens. So those are indeed item dependent. Similarly to this key, yeah. Just 1 second. Okay, we are back. Yeah, there's a trick to it all, especially if you want to create lots of content. Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like otherwise it would get a lot more tricky, since you would basically need to constantly develop new things to build up on the game, whereas here we don't need to do that. Like, so much is gonna be fully reusable. Anyways, we're just stopping by before lunch. I'll catch you after. For sure, man. Enjoy your lunch, man. And thanks for stopping by. I'll see you later. Okay, so we have all of these objects working. We do need... Let's see, hammer, screwdriver. Are you doing scheduled mid-rolls, by the way? No, I don't. So that would have been a good time to roll an ad, wouldn't it? Yeah, just I did turn off the ads manager, so currently we are... Yeah, that's what you thought as well. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I did turn them completely off, so it's only pre-rolls now. But I do literally have a button on my Stream Deck to roll an ad. So yeah, I should. Oh yeah, exactly. I did go back fully to pre-rolls. I disabled the ads manager, I think it's called. But yeah, I should probably get into the habit of manually scheduling ads so that we at least can get rid of pre-rolls at times. So basically whenever I do a Be Right Back or whatever it might be. That's... I shall try to keep that in mind, because that would make people actually skip the pre-rolls at least. Prefabs, objects, collectibles. No, I think we're gonna rename this, and because objects are like shelves and rugs and tables and shit. And then we have items, which is the smaller stuff that we interact with. And inside items, I think we're gonna have two, where we have collectibles and inventory items. So, let's see here. This door key is indeed a collectible item, but the hammer is an inventory item. The trapdoor key is also a collectible item. Screwdriver, you will be an inventory item. So we have to make sure that these are set up correctly as well. Where I did at least fix now so that the music on YouTube is not gonna keep on pausing for me. There was an extension to basically get rid of the "Are you still watching?" prompt. Okay, let's see, what are we doing? Screwdriver. Oh, I should call these different things, because we're gonna have another screwdriver that is placed in the scene, aren't we? Yeah, just this is the screwdriver. No wait, that's the inventory screwdriver. This is the one placed in the scene. Did I pick the wrong one? No, I didn't. That's great. Why not support your local small businesses and use Spotify? I did use Spotify, but I did actually unsubscribe to it. So currently, you know, it's a little bit annoying because I would start getting ads on it. And also, I feel like Spotify isn't that great if you want to use like copyright-free music. I know there is some, but it's a little bit tricky because non-copyright, like royalty-free and stuff, is also like keywords some people use even though it isn't, which is a bit annoying. I don't know, do you Do you care about that stuff, Red Raka? Because I'm not sure if I've... Oh, you just cut the music out of the Twitch VOD. Oh, I see. Wait, how do you handle that? I'm not entirely sure how you would go about something like that. But I'm not sure that's a foolproof way, to be honest. Because I have heard that, like, even if it's not in the VOD, I'm not entirely sure that means you couldn't get, like, a DMCA on Twitch. As far as I know. You need to set it up in your OBS audio settings. Oh, I see, I see. Okay, I think we should do something where the inventory items... Let's make like... an I afterwards to show that this is the inventory item. And then, for example, for the trapdoor key, we're gonna put a C to show that it's a collectible item. I mean, you technically could, but it doesn't happen on Twitch. Okay, okay. On YouTube it does, that's why I'm not multi-streaming till I move around some settings to avoid copyright on there. Okay, okay, I see. But you are planning on... But weren't you multi-streaming before? Oh, but maybe that's why you stopped. You didn't continue when you... Never. Oh, okay, okay. I thought I saw something on your Discord about it. Okay, let's actually move out the trapdoor key as well. You are collectible. And what we should do... Let's see, this is a collectible item. The trapdoor key. We're gonna duplicate you. And we are instead going to make you into a inventory item with the same scriptable object. But we are going to change the sprite to the inventory key. Set native size. There we go. Does that look enough like a key? I think it's clear enough. Maybe we should rework that one, I'm not sure. It just means setting up. I don't know why the bot announced it, never went live. Oh, I see, I see. Okay, okay, gotcha. Okay, should we maybe see if we can somewhat set up the inventory to make sure that that one is working? We do need all the items for it though, so maybe we should do that first. Oh wait, did I mess this up? Yeah, I did. This is a collectible item. Trapdoor key. Metal pickup. This one we need to unpack. And we're gonna call this trapdoor key I for inventory. Now we can save this one. And then we can make this into a prefab. Which is trapdoor key I is a inventory item. Huh. Did these not change name when I changed? Oh, is it because I... variant from the existing prefab variant. Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Delete. I'm confused. Can I just rename you here then? Maybe that's... This is inventory items, so you should be Eye, we have Hammer Eye, Trapdoor Key Eye. Collectible, Door Key C, and Trapdoor Key C. Temp 10th, thank you for that follow, man. Holy shit, we just hit 810 followers. GG. How you doing? Welcome to the stream, man. It's going good. It's going good. Making a simple little point and click puzzle horror game for my first game jam. So we're currently working on the items so that we can basically select different items to open up stuff, whatever it might be. You're doing good? Nice, man. Ooh, a game jam, yeah, indeed. And my first one, so I am pretty excited. It's a long one, though. It's not like one of those 2-day game jams. It's technically a month-long game jam, so it might not be as stressful as some people would expect, but you know what they say, you never forget your 810th, exactly. We have 18 days and 17 hours left until this game needs to be completed. But like I said before, I think I'm actually going to turn this game into a full like Steam release afterwards, because I am feeling quite good about it. What about you, Temp? Do you develop games as well? Jeez. Okay, let's actually keep this a little bit separate. We have the... Now let's do this. We have the collectible key, and we have the inventory key. We then have the... Okay, we need more collectible items. So we have the screwdriver. Unpack. This is going to be the collectible screwdriver, which has this sprite instead. Maybe that's a bit big. Maybe it should be the same sprite for this one, I'm not sure. Let's see, and you're not supposed to be an inventory item, you are a collectible item. Which is the screwdriver. Do I have permission on some self-promoting because I see in your rules that I can't? It's fine, it's fine. If you post a link though, the bot is gonna go a little haywire, but if you wanna talk about your project, it's cool, man. Make the $100 bet with Gabe. Yeah, indeed, indeed. It's come together pretty well, to be honest, looks clean. Thank you, man, I appreciate that. No, and I do think that, like, this is probably gonna end up being my most polished game so far, and not only that, it's the whole thing about, like, how reusable we've made everything. I feel like it's gonna be really easy to continue working on this and like making more content and stuff, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I feel like this might be a good first game to bring to Steam, because this would also make it so that this like game jam version, I suppose we theoretically could make into like the first demo version, which means that when we publish the Steam page, we can already have a fully working demo for people to test out and start collecting like wish lists as soon as possible, basically. So I think I don't know, I feel like the current state would allow this to basically work itself out to a pretty decent Steam game, I think. Also, I do know that horror in general as a genre is pretty decent for indie games. Let's see, would you say this is a combination of your learning or more a result of increased learning due to short deadline? No, I do think it in some regard is a... I mean, it's multiple things. It is definitely a result of me just becoming a better programmer, which is, to be fair, I really do feel like every single game I've made has been maybe not more polished than the last one. I'm not entirely sure that's correct to say, but definitely if you look at like the code base and structure and like architecture and stuff like that, I feel like for every game I've made, I'm getting quite a lot more better at that stuff. Whereas like in my first games, I was doing so much unnecessary work because I didn't know how to... I had no concept of like reusability and stuff like that. The name of my game is Billy's Last Charge Internet. It's about a robot named Billy goes in an office and then needs to clean and kill all the viruses and errors and bugs. Then he moves on to the next level and yeah, oh, sounds cool, man. And you need to collect the batteries because if you don't, you will die in game because... Oh, it's Billy's Last Charge. Oh, that's clever, that's clever. So is it like kind of roguelike or more like story-driven single player style? (2D or 3D? Now I'm just bombarding you with questions. Okay, collectible key or screwdriver, and then we have the inventory screwdriver. Do need to make the, let's see, collectible screwdriver. You need to be a prefab. Hammer. So this one is interesting. Hammer, technically speaking, shouldn't have a... item you just pick up. Maybe we should make it that way. Because like right now the way we did it was that I was planning on having... So that you needed to like pick up a hammerhead and a hammer shaft and basically craft it into the hammer. Maybe this is like... I don't know, maybe this is dumb. Maybe it's better to just pick up the hammer as is. We'll see, we'll see. Let's fix the scriptable objects. Trapdoor key. Inventory item will be... Why can I not click and drag? Trapdoor key I. Door key. Oh yeah, we're technically not using a door key right now, so we're gonna need to fix that at some point. Hammer inventory objects should be hammer. Screwdriver inventory objects is the screwdriver I. The collectible one is screwdriver C. Maybe that's actually a good thing. Maybe we should rename this into inventory object and collectible object. That might be better. Item does not contain... Oh shit. Now we have to change it here as well. But I think that's better for... It's a bit more clear. 3D and it's a platformer, speedrun. Oh, I see. It sounds cool, man. Have you been developing for a long time? Oh yeah, to be fair, to answer your question as well, Red Raka, about whether this is a culmination of my learning or a result of increased learning due to short deadline. I do think one other thing that we shouldn't take for granted is the fact that the short deadline has made me put more time on this live on stream, and you guys definitely are helping me out in structuring this in a better way. I don't take that for granted either, and I think it's worth mentioning. Let's see, we do have add item to inventory, item object. So that's actually not going to be the collectible object that we put in the inventory. It's going to be the inventory object. So now we can actually try this. This means that if we click this small key, that should actually put the big key into the inventory. So, turn on the light, click, we collect the small key, boom, we get the big key in the inventory, which should work for the trapdoor. Sweet. And what I do think we're gonna do here instead, because I think it's gonna be a little bit cool, is that if we go to Game UI Inventory, I think we might actually do something like this instead, where we have like a bigger inventory, maybe something like this, that you, let's see, create empty parent inventory. This is going to be like the inventory grid, and then we're also going to have a inventory button. This is going to be a, should we use, maybe here we should just use Unity's button component, which means we also need an image. Because then I was thinking about just like up in the corner putting like a little inventory button, which we do have a sprite for, and then we just made that one turn on the, so that you actually open up the inventory. That's fair. 30 hours of consistent work with short gaps is more effective than 40 hours of work with large breaks in between. Yeah, no, I do think so. Staying in the mindset and context of your project is highly overlooked. Yeah, definitely. Because if we take like my first game, for example, that one I probably spent less time on, but I developed that game for like during a year. No, it's even more, because I kept on being like sidetracked with other objects and stuff, which I'm technically still doing, because technically speaking you haven't released the first game yet, so the irony is kind of funny. But I do think that actually does make it worse, because every time I would go back to the game I have to kind of get into the yeah, like you said, the context and the mindset for this game I'm working on, because now it's like, oh, I don't even remember how I did this stuff, and all of a sudden I've gotten much better as a programmer and game designer, so I will start feeling like I have to like redo shit because it's bad. How many games have you made, or is this your first game? Technically, if we're talking about more than a very, very simple prototype, this is like the, what is that? Yes, this is the 5th game I'm working on, but so far I technically haven't released a single game yet. I have my 2 first games are almost finished, and then I did 2 different pretty big prototypes of the same roguelike game that I think might have been a little bit infected by scope creep, and then now this is the 5th game I'm working on. You can see, if you scroll down, you have my itch page where you can see a few of my projects. I also did like a DICE application, but that technically isn't a game. That's the only thing so far that I have like officially released or whatever. Especially hard when you have no documentation or version control. True that. I mean, I have some documentation. It all depends on how you view it. How you're gonna define documentation. Because I do use Notion for like all the games I make. So I do have a little bit. Like if we go into my Hall of Honor remake, I do have like all the stuff I'm supposed to be working on that was incredibly empty. But we have a general like design document. You know, I have categorized all the stuff that I was going to have in the game, like the different abilities and status effects and trinkets. Like, I do have some documentation. But version control I definitely don't have, and it's something I should get on. I feel ashamed every time I say it. This doesn't look like a horror game documentation. Okay, you little bugger, just you wait. That was for the other one. We do have Shroud of Gloom, which is the game we're currently working on. I'm documenting the time I'm spending on the game. I've already written a ending that I'm gonna try and not spoil for you guys. We have the intro dialogue, and then I have the dev board, which is basically to check where I'm sort of at in the development journey. Technically speaking, we could say that sound effects is in progress. We have started adding some. Fixed physical inventory is kind of what I'm doing right now. So I do have a little bit. It's not. I don't have like a full game design document for this, but we have some stuff. Okay, inventory grid is going to be the actual transform. Inventory button will... What are you going to do? You are going to call the... No, let's do this. Inventory manager. We are going to make a public void called inventory button, which is going to call the audio manager dot instance dot play select. Then you are going to say, I guess we need to check whether the inventory is open or not. So we do have the transform for the inventory. So we should take transform. We can make a private game object called inventory object, and then in start, do we not have a start function? We don't. In start, we can just say that inventory object is equal to inventory transform dot game object. That is definitely one of the documentations of all time. Shut up, man. At least I'm trying. I'm doing something. I'm doing something. Play the select sound, and then if... How is it? There is some way to check if a object is active. How did we do that again? It's something like if inventory object shit, how did I do it again? Unity check if object is active. Oh, active self, that's how you do it. So if inventory object dot active self, I think that's all I need. In that case, inventory object set active false, otherwise inventory object set active true. No, game object does not contain a definition for active self. Why did you lie to me? Did I misspell it? Inventory object is a game object. Did he misspell it? Yeah, I think he did. This is not supposed to be capitalized. There we go. Yeah, I should get into the habit of making like better game design documents and stuff. I do hear a lot of people talking quite highly about the advantages of having like a good game design document. That's what I find quite interesting about Pirate Software's game jam he hosts, because in his game jam you're actually required to make a game design document. Like, you can't only post a game, you need to post a game with a game design document, which is a little bit interesting. inventory button, you should call inventory manager inventory button. See if this works. It does work. However, we're not supposed to open this if the flashlight isn't on. You know what? Screw Unity's inventory button. Let's just make this into a clickable object. Sound effect, select. You know what? No, we're gonna make a new one called inventory button. This is how we're gonna do it. You are going to derive from clickable objects, and we are going to make a protected override void on click called base on click, and then from here we will call the inventory manager dot instance dot inventory button. That's how we do it. I saw the design document for one of those games that won. It wasn't anything crazy. Okay. I actually haven't checked it out myself. I just found it interesting that it's like a requirement. Nothing you couldn't handle even with the little experience in documentation. Yeah. No, I do think, I suppose that there's not like a requirement on how good the documentation or like the design document is. It's more so that you just need to have a design document. Yeah, now it works. Now it's only interactable when the flashlight is on. That is how we want it. I think we should add the correct... We should make... we need more UI elements. I guess one of these might actually work as the inventory object. Do you fit here? Yeah, I think ultimately he'll care about the game more, probably as an effort to promote productive habits. Yeah, no, for sure. I do think that's the case. Like, in the end, I don't think the game design document is going to be what actually makes someone win or lose that game jam. But it is interesting, just at least for me. Of course, I haven't looked at like a ton of game jams, but I've never seen another game jam that like explicitly says that it's a requirement to make a game design document. And I do think, especially when you look at like self-taught indie developers, I do expect that quite a lot of people are actually not super consistent with documentation and stuff, you know? So it might, for the specific audience, it might actually be a good thing. Let's just take one of these and make into the inventory. Where the fuck did I get? Oh, I took a pixel off one of the texts there, okay. Let's make sure to remove that little pixel. And then, maybe you don't need to really be that wide. Maybe something like this, and we make you a bit taller instead. Maybe something like that. Export as UI indeed. Save. I go into Unity and let's cut out a little bit of UI elements. Let's make sure that we set this to multiple sprites, absolutely no filtering and absolutely no compression. I mean, there is such a thing as over-documenting, but that's more so to do with time being a resource you need to manage. It's all a balance. It can end up saving you a lot of time as much as it can end up costing you a lot. But no documentation is never the answer. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, for sure. Because I do see a point where, like, if someone ends up spending, like, too little time actually developing the game, because they are, like, over-focused on, like, you know, like, incredibly minute documentation details and stuff, that might end up being like, okay, this is going too far. But yeah, I suppose, like you're saying, that doing absolutely no documentation probably isn't the answer, though. Like, it's somewhere in between, lagom, as we would say in Swedish. Just the right amount. So this is going to be the inventory. This is going to be the inventory button. And I do have a pretty good idea here, because the button will almost not be visible. Let's see. Where do we have you? Button. Inventory button, boom, set native size, scale you up. Something like so, and then the inventory grid. Let's remove the color and change this to inventory, set native size, scale you up. I am going to make these actually interact with the lightning in the game, which might be... Oh, you know what would look nice? Sorry, my undiagnosed ADHD. I just realized, wouldn't it look pretty neat if we made a little thing like... like this, because now it still seems quite disconnected from the inventory button. However, if we did something like this, that would be pretty neat, wouldn't it? Have you figured out the game balance yet, or too early for that? No, I haven't really, because we still haven't added the sound effects. I think that right now it's too difficult, because you can't really tell when the enemy is coming. However, I do think that when we add these sound effects, you will be able to, like, notice it much quicker, so that's gonna change the game balance a lot. So I think I'm not gonna worry too much about it until we have that whole thing added. I don't understand what you're going for here. Basically, this will be the actual, like, physical inventory in the game, and so we're just gonna have, like, a little button up here that when you click it, you open up to check your inventory. And that's why I thought, like, adding a little bit of, like, an arrow like that might look nice, just it gives off a little bit more of that vibe that it's actually that thing that you're opening. I don't know if maybe we should make it even bigger though, maybe something like this. Okay, I thought the backpack was an item. Oh no, so the backpack will actually be a button, it's like a UI element. Looks good, thank you, man. I did take it from one of my other games. I had a very similar item button and I just took that and made it into a 1-bit style. No. That looks weird. I think maybe like this. Let's do this for now. Export as UI. But I do think this is going to be quite interesting, because my plan is basically that the inventory will also be a lit material, so you actually need to use the flashlight to even see what you have in the inventory, and I think that might be quite interesting. No consideration for the traditional horizontal hotbar. That is what I was planning at first, to basically have all the items visible constantly, which is what I think you're referring to, like, just before we had a grid down here. The only thing that I don't like about it is that if you have a lot of items, it might end up taking up a bit of space where I might want to put objects in the scene. Just like when I had the hotbar down here, we basically, you know, it ended up almost covering like half the mat, which didn't look as great. And I do think that a traditional hotbar in that sense kind of takes away a little bit of the immersion, because you end up, that's more clearly like a UI element, which takes you away a little bit from the immersion in the room. And I think the interesting thing about doing it this way is that we can do the whole thing where we make everything into lit objects, which I think is gonna be a bit cool. Looks unique this way, was just curious. Yeah, no worries, of course. Let's see, you are the correct size, the position looks good, this one is probably gonna change, boom, so we need to move you down a little bit, make it something like so. Interesting, avoiding gamified interfaces like a survival game. Yeah, I think it can add quite a bit to the immersion. Ooh, maybe we should... Oh, I don't like how it perfectly lines up with the ceiling. Maybe something like that. Because now, I think the interesting thing is that we can make both of these objects into lit materials, which is going to be a little bit weird at first, because that means that we have a UI element in the scene that you actually can't see. Like, you actually need a flashlight to even see the UI element. And same thing, when you click it, you actually need to use the flashlight to see the objects you have in your inventory. And I feel like this adds a little bit of stress to the game, where you can't just like... you can't even browse your inventory without having a bit of stress of having to make sure the monster isn't coming. And it also makes it feel a little bit more realistic, where this is like the gamified version of opening up your backpack in a dark room and having to actually use a flashlight to see what's in there. But the thing, I think we need to like somehow show that this one exists. I was about to say if the UI could block the door, that would be funny. Yeah, indeed. I think what we want to do is that on the inventory button, I actually think we're gonna make a new object which has a light, and make it so that every time you pick up an item, the inventory is going to like quickly glow, you know? Because I think that will give the indication that when you pick something up, you see the inventory button glow up a little bit, and that will like teach the player that, oh, okay, so if I pick up items, they end up in the inventory, which is in the upper left corner. I feel like that might be a good thing. So just like make this for a second, like boom, glow up when you pick something up. It's a small icon in the corner though. Do you think we should have a bigger button for the inventory? Maybe. Because I do think, at least if we're doing it this way, it's not gonna be intuitive enough for someone to understand that they have an inventory. No, but maybe a sound effect? Yeah. Because now, even if you like pick this item up, it's hard to know like, oh, what happened now? And yeah, all items do have a sound effect for pickup. It's just that right now we have a lot of placeholder sound effects, so it's the same sound effect for almost everything. But if when you pick an item up, it actually, this thing glows up for a little bit, I feel like that should be really nice. So maybe we should actually do it with an... oh yeah, I think we should animate this. So let's create an animator, not whatever that was. We want an animator. We're gonna create a new animation. Let's see, project, animations, UI, inventory button light. We are going to add the light, the intensity, I suppose, is the thing we're gonna affect. So we take the intensity, 1.63. So in that case, we can actually keep this one on constantly. Make sure this doesn't block any things, right? No, it doesn't. Then we put the light to 0 from the get-go. So you will be 0, and then yeah, you're gonna like shine up for a split second. I think that's gonna be nice. Okay, then it's cool, visual and sound effects should be good. Yeah, I feel like that's enough to show the player that, okay, you do have an inventory here, that's where the item ended up being. Okay, I think something like this. Oh, do we need to... let's see, animator, entry, yeah, we need to actually make another clip, which we are going to call inventory button idle. Maybe moving around in the inventory has a rustling sound effect, which risks triggering monster. Oh, that could be interesting. I would add a little bit more stress to it as well. Inventory button is the idle, is the default one, and then we are going to make a trigger called maybe just light. That's fine. And when that trigger is set, we are going to light up the inventory button. 0 transition. When we go back, we do have a full exit time but 0 transition. I think that's all we need. And now in the inventory manager, when we add an item, add item to inventory. Here we can go, let's make a public animator, which will be the inventory button animator. Let's be... I feel like it's better to be more too specific rather than too vague. I feel like that's generally... I don't know what you, Raka, would say as a software engineer, but I feel like that's probably... If I'm gonna go one way, it's probably better for me to be over-specific rather than too vague when specific is better. Yeah, I feel like that is generally gonna be the case, right? So, add item to inventory. When we do that, we are going to say inventory button animator dot set trigger light. And now we just need to find a reference to the light. And that should pretty much work, shouldn't it? General rule, if I read your code, I need to be able to understand with no experience in your domain. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so basically always trying to be as specific as possible should be the way to go. Of course, you probably can't take it too far as well, but I feel like it's better to lean to like over-specificity rather than oversimplification. Okay, so let's try. If we pick up the key, the inventory button should light up. It does. So that shows the player that, ooh, you have a button up here. And if you open that one, that's no bueno. That's an issue. That's a very, very big key. That's a very big key. So I think... Big key pod. Let's see here. Inventory grid. I think the issue is that you are scaled up, and then the item that's in here gets scaled up as well, so it gets like double scaling. So that means that we can't have the inventory object be scaled. This is the issue with... I kind of messed up the scaling here in the game, but I feel like I'm a little bit in too deep to start fixing it now. Because if I change... Because the good thing... How I should have done this is to make sure that the entire UI element, like the entire scene, is scaled up 6 times. And then every object under it would be scaled, so everything would just be set to 1:1 in scale, and that would make everything so easy. Now I've kind of messed it up where the UI is set to 1:1, but every single item is scaled up instead. The issue is that if I start trying to fix this, we did kind of try before, the issue is that I break like almost everything I've done so far. Like all the positioning of objects and stuff needs to be redone. Even the monster we need to like rebalance because his speed is based on the scaled up version, so when we scale it down he becomes like super fast. I feel like I'm in too deep to start changing it now, but this is the issue. We do get some new problems because I'm not handling scaling correctly. And a reasonable, logical man would probably say it's better to fix it now and not have to worry about it later. Question is, how logical do I want to be? Because it is going to be like, I feel like it's gonna be like half a day of work to fix the scaling. No joke. Because almost everything gets messed up. Even like the individual objects, like the positioning will stop being messy. I can't believe I didn't think about this when I started. Wait, we can force the child size in the inventory. Can I? But I can't set it to scale, can I? Yeah, because if I... Oh no, I know how we do it. What if we... This is the lazy way of fixing this. We do scale this... Did I mess this up? Oh, I did. We have an extra pixel. there we go. What we probably could do is have two different game objects where we basically do we like duplicate this one, and we do like one is going to be called the inventory background, which is this. Can you explain the scaling issue? Is it for different resolutions people play on? No, it's for the pixel art itself, since... So yeah, it would affect the different resolutions as well, but that kind of happens automatically now. Like the scaling for different sizes works well, but the scaling, like... I don't know how to explain this, almost like the backend scaling for the game is a little bit messy. Because here, if I scale this to 4K, it looks exactly the same. Like nothing changes. So the kind of practical scaling works nice. The thing is that the native resolution of this game is 320 by 180. So it's really, really small since it's pixel art. And the issue now is the fact that I work on the game in 1080p, even though the native resolution is lower. The reason I do that is because, like this text object for example, if you look at that one, which isn't pixel based, when I scale it down, that one becomes all messed up because it's not clean pixels. So usually what you do with pixel art games is that you scale the pixel art up, and then you can add like text objects on the scaled up version, and it's gonna look nice. The issue now is that I handled this like initial scaling the wrong way, where basically if you look at the UI is actually just 1920 to 1080p. So this is not scaled. The full like UI element isn't scaled up. So what I've done instead, which is so dumb, and I hate myself for it, is the fact that I have then basically scaled up every single item, as well as like if we look at the monster, he's scaled up 6 times, just 6 times the native resolution becomes 1080p. So now every single object I have in the scene, if you look at the actual like image objects, are always scaled up 6 times. And that becomes an issue because like now, for example, this inventory grid is scaled up 6 times to fit the scaled up resolution. However, the actual inventory items are also scaled up 6 times, which means that when I put a inventory item in this inventory, since that's now a child of the other one's transform, it means that the child will also be scaled up 6 times. So the object in the inventory gets scaled up 12 times, which is the reason why it becomes ginormous. And yeah, this is basically just an issue about me being dumb in the beginning and not scaling up the entire UI once, and then working with all of these in native scale, or whatever you want to say, and instead scaling up every single object I put into the scene. I know, it's fucking dumb. It's fucking dumb. But it's also really annoying to change now, because it means I have to rework every single object and like the speed of the monster and everything in the game. So that's why I'm like a little bit hesitant to start fixing it now, because I feel like it's gonna take me like half a day to rework. And that's why I keep coming up with really dumb solutions where theoretically I could have this scaled up version here and then just do a invisible grid above it which isn't scaled, and that would make the object appear correctly. Just do it. I probably should. It's gonna make everything easier in the future, to be honest. I can't believe I didn't think about it at first. If it makes life simpler for the rest of the development, then why not? Yeah, no, that is, like I said, it is the logical answer, is to just fucking fix the root issue and I won't have to work around it. Because to be fair, it's also a little bit like, the more I keep working on this without fixing this issue, the more annoying it is going to be to fix the issue in the future, you know? So we probably should do it. We probably should, shouldn't we? Is that gonna affect my lights as well? No, the lights are already scaled, so it should be fine. I haven't heard one reason not to do it. Yes, you have. Laziness and effort. Laziness and short-term effort. It's worse with long-term effort, but it's more short-term effort right now to fix it. Look, okay, you did say good reason. I was just gonna say, I know this isn't like a logical reason. This is purely emotional. I just feel like, you know, I'm dreading having to redo all the positioning and stuff. But yeah, it's not a good reason. It's not a good reason whatsoever. And we're not that stressed. We have 18 days and 16 hours left to develop the game, so it is probably better to do it now rather than later. I should still be able to fully finish this game in time, as far as I feel. Yeah, even here, I wouldn't even need to... I should be able to just scale this one to the screen size. If a sprite has this pixels per unit setting, then one pixel in the sprite would cover up one unit in the UI. I don't really understand how that works. Because here I could set the reference resolution. Could I not change this to 320 by 180? And yeah, look, the background does scale correctly. So, oh wait, what did I do? 180, there we go. Yeah, the background is still scaled correctly, but now everything else is too big. So that would really be all we need to do, as long as the... I wonder if the text object still looks fine. So, if we take like the test light, let's make sure that the text looks decent before we start going too far. That looks absolutely fine. Effort can be good reason, but not if overall effort is increased. Yeah, and that's the thing, like I know that long term I am doing myself a disservice by not fixing this. Whereas like, you know, it's only short term that it's a little bit emotionally draining having to do it, but long term it's gonna be much better because everything else I do is gonna be easier. So yeah, I don't know, this is just, I've just been procrastinating this. So I guess we just start scaling stuff down then. So the door should be 1, 1. 1, 1. But even now, like, is the closed door gonna have the correct position? No, it's not. So that's why like all the positioning gets messed up as well.
You're very good at being bad.
Cheers, man. It's a fair point, fair point. I don't know why I didn't. I should have thought about this in the beginning, to be honest. Wait, why do I not do multiple objects at one time? You live and you learn. You do indeed. I feel like that is the thing we should focus on here. Like, as long as I feel like I actually take the learning of this mistake and learn, yeah, basically learn something from it, then it's not really too bad. It's only if I decide to do something stupid like this again, then I probably need to blame myself a little bit more. Let's say inventory button should also be scaled down. Inventory background scaled down. Let's just scale this one down, and now we should be able to remove this background. We shouldn't need it anymore. So you gotta check your streaming while it's down. It's just how these things go. Yeah, no, it's part of the job, isn't it? Look at this positioning. Holy shit, everything is messed up. What is this? Okay, that's the inside of the crate, which seems like we missed. Boom, boom. And then we have the monster is still too big, so where do we have him? Monster walking. Boom, boom. Monster looking. Boom, boom. Okay. That should be everything. Test light. Now we just need to start putting things a little bit more in the correct space. So I guess we are just going to start off at the top, aren't we? Because the room is correct, that one scales with the screen, so that's fine. The monster. Let's select the monster. Where are you? Way too far away. Okay, we need to actually fix the door first, otherwise it's not gonna work. Let's put you straight in the middle. And let's center these guys as well. Boom. Then we need the open door. Let's see, where are you supposed to be? I think you're supposed to be right about here. Something like so. Now we can take the monster, move him down. What's up, Spook? How you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. That door placement is soothing my OCD. I thought you were gonna leave that one pixel out there. Dude, don't make me zoom in though, because that's gonna probably... Oh, that is surprisingly well fit, isn't it? Oh wow, I'm actually proud of myself. What about the open door? Ooh. Sorry, man. That's not 100% correct. Position Y. Should we go higher or lower? We should go higher. Perfect. I fixed it just for you, Spook. Excellent. Okay, we can now remove the open door. And I think we should try and make sure that the monster is working correctly immediately, because this starting speed... Oh wait, this should be pretty easy. Shouldn't I be able to just divide everything by 6 and it should work the same as it did before? Since this scaling now is going to be too quick, because we've scaled everything down but kept his speed the same, which means that he's going to run quicker. So if we just take every single value we see and we divide it by 6, I feel like it should be fine. So same thing here. We just go and find like the walking towards door. If okay, here we check if he's at the door, and we check if he is at a position on the x-axis that's less than 3, but also greater than -3, meaning he will be somewhat centered. So if we instead say that he's between -0.5 and... Alright, this is not in Swedish, I need to actually use a dot rather than a comma. I don't know, that's a bit annoying, because different countries do it differently. In Swedish we would put a comma here rather than a point or a dot. So I keep on doing that incorrectly all the time. Fortunately, at least in the inspector, Unity fixes it for me, which kind of is bad because it makes me keep writing commas. Walking left, position X is... okay, that should be fine. And the wait time should be fine. Yeah, when we find the target's position, we should be able to do the same here. If we take 325 and divide it by 6, that is around 55. So we change that to 55. And then we change this to 150. And that should make him behave the same way he did before. Oh, this as well. Alert monster added almost 100%. Fuck it. What if we just do double speed? Times equals 2. That's how you do it, right? It seems to work. And now we are going to position you at a little bit further away, because he always starts a little bit slower. The first time I do want to give the player a little bit of time. So let's see if this works. Whoops. We also changed the scaling here. New edge scale is going to be 1 instead and -1. So that's when we use scaling to basically flip the sprite depending on the direction he's walking. Okay, let's see. Now we should be able to turn the game on. I don't care about that error, we should be fine. Let's... Is my flashlight on or off? I think the flashlight is off, so we shouldn't get a jump scare. This is one of the warnings though. We are developing horror games, so there could be potential jump scares every now and then. Maybe even accidental ones, so be aware. Let's see, game manager, game started. Now he should start walking. He does. Let's make sure that it stops correctly at the door. And then doesn't walk too far away. That does look good. Monster position. He walks... He's walking too far. He should have turned around by now. Where are you going, fam? Where are you going? I'm looking to start some game dev, know a couple of languages from my day job, nothing great, just enough to be dangerous. Seems to be a good few engines to choose from though, looking to make a game like XCOM. Why'd you go for Unity? The main reason why I decided to go for Unity, I should say I have like zero code knowledge from before, experience. But the main reasons why I decided to go for Unity is that it seems relatively user-friendly, and probably the biggest thing is that it has great documentation. Because otherwise you also have like Godot, which is like a newer open source engine that a lot of people speak very highly of. And I do think that Godot might end up becoming like a standard engine in the future. But I think the main reason for me why I decided to go for Unity instead, even though it has stuff like royalties and stuff. It's just the fact that there's so much more content and documentation for it, since, you know, I think, to be fair, it might actually be more important for me. If you already have some programming knowledge, you might be able to work better around Godot than I would have, but when I started, I literally had zero, like, previous experience. So I really needed to know that I would be able to find a good amount of like documentation, tutorials, and like learning content for the engine. And I feel like I do feel like Unity has an advantage, probably on both Unreal and Godot, still at this moment. It is definitely going to change. More and more people are starting to make like tutorials and stuff for Godot as well. Unity is better for 3D though, right? Yeah, I do think Godot is starting to have more and more, how would you call it? Like, it's getting more and more appropriate for 3D as well. I do think Unity is probably still a bit sharper in the 3D aspect compared to Godot, where you also have something like Unreal, which, similarly to Unity, also it's not open source, so there is some royalties and stuff. I feel like Unreal is the best if you want like highly detailed 3D. That's when I would go for Unreal. Otherwise, I think that I would probably prefer something like Unity or Godot. Also because the languages are easier, because Unreal uses C++, which, as for me, who's not like super experienced, seems much more complicated to work in. And also I'm doing 2D games, so Unreal doesn't make as much sense for me. But yeah, like XCOM, are you making it 3D or... Because XCOM is a 3D game, but like top-down, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken. I think that's the case. Yeah, isometric 3D. Yeah, I don't know, take it with a grain of salt, but I would probably go for Unreal or Unity as of now. I will say that it's not entirely impossible that like a few years down the line maybe I would switch to something like Godot when it's been around for a bit longer and stuff like that. But yeah, that's probably my take on it. If you want to have really, really good graphics, if that's something you really want to aim for, I would probably go with Unreal. Otherwise, I'd probably pick Unity. I like Unity, and I feel like a lot of people shit on, probably, interestingly, more so Unity's like royalty system compared to Unreal's. I know Unity did some really bad decisions before, but they have retracted them, and they are no longer the case. But I feel like neither are that bad, and in some regard I actually feel like Unreal's is worse, because basically if you end up making over like $1 million or something, you have to start paying for Unreal or Unity Professional or whatever, but that's like a set number, and if you've made that much money, you're probably fine paying that. Like, I don't think it's too bad. Whereas Unreal, I'm quite sure they do like 5% of the earnings after you earn like the same amount, I think. Which I would expect, like, if your game really blows up, the percentage would end up being higher than the set cost for Unity. And of course, here you go with, if you would go with Godot, you have the advantage that it's a open source project and it's completely free, so no royalties whatsoever. But like, yeah. Unity is my top pick at the moment, as there are a good few courses out there from folk that have made the type of games I'm looking to make. I ain't making Crysis, don't have the artistic flair for that. Yeah, I think Unity is a good engine to go for. That's my opinion. Like, obviously I use it and I'm happy with it. I think most platforms take 30% anyway, Switch, Steam, etc. I think Epic is the lowest at 10%. Yeah, so like in the end you're always gonna end up having to pay some part of your profit somewhere, and I feel like if you end up making $1 million of your game, paying a little bit of money to Unity isn't really that much of a deal, is it? I think it's fine. Depending on how far you plan on taking game dev, it's still important to consider the financial advantages of Godot. For sure. Like, I don't want to like look over the fact that Godot is completely open source and free to use. That's awesome, and it's one of the main reasons why I feel like I probably would like to use Godot, because I like supporting open source stuff. I think open source is pretty fucking awesome, to be honest. But it's just the main thing is, someone for me with the lack of knowledge and experience I have, I feel like I need to be on something where the language I use and the engine I use has good amount of learning content, tutorials and documentation. And although that gets better for each day that passes with Godot, I don't think it currently can compete with like Unity in that space. But I do think it's very possible that I'm going to switch to Godot in the future. But I don't want to do it now, because I'm just at the point when I'm starting to get like comfortable with Unity. So I want to get advanced in Unity, and then in the future, if I start feeling like Godot is more appropriate for me, then I might make the switch then. I'm not too in tune with the game dev world, but I remember hearing Unity pulling some shady stuff regarding their fees and percentages. They did. However, they did redact on it, or like they did a walk back on that stuff. Because yeah, they did some really fucking weird stuff where they started doing some, like I think they wanted to add like installation fees, so that rather than playing like per sale, you would pay per installation, which was really weird, because then it's like, so what the fuck happens if someone decides to sit for an entire day and uninstall and reinstall my game? Like, how do you figure out whether it's like the first install or not? Like, there was a lot of questions people had which wasn't really answered, and yeah, it was really weird. But they did indeed work back on it. Even if they redacted, they show their hand and what they want to eventually do. It's something to consider. For sure, absolutely, I don't deny that part. It still shows just let's be honest, the real reason why they did the walkback is because people went fucking crazy about it. So eventually I think they will just like, we have to do it or we're gonna lose like all of our users. That is definitely the case. Yeah, you'll be more out of pocket no matter what you go for. I'm not looking to make a career out of it though. Unity went proper private sector commercial. Yeah, it did. Then realized a large portion of their customer base is in these small studios. Exactly. I think that's the thing that Unity really needs to consider a bit more when they do these kind of changes. Like I feel like the majority of people who develop games in Unity are not like ginormous AAA studios. Like you said, a large portion of their customer base is indeed like solo indie developers and like indie studios and stuff. And yeah, if you're not looking to make a career, then the more well-supported platform makes sense, especially for 3D like Unity. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Like I said, if I started today, I probably would still go for Unity, if I'm being honest. But I do want to put out the disclaimer that I might want to switch to Godot in the future when I feel like it competes a bit more on like the availability to understand the language and the platform. But for now, I am all in on Unity. That's been my decision. Turn around. If the target position is equal to random target position. So yeah, we can't just check if it's equal now, can we? No, wait, when do we call the turnaround? It's here. If you're at target position, so that's, yeah, at target position. If not walking left, return if position X is greater or equal to target. That should work. Maybe it's because this error we got messes something up. I think it might be worth fixing that first. So inventory transform is going to be the inventory grid. Spook, thank you very much for that follow, man. I appreciate it. What's wrong with the language on Godot? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. As far as I know, it's supposed to be actually a really good language. In like, I think it has more similarities with Python, which I think is good because it's easier in some regard. But I do. Hey, Spook with that Prime subscription. Much appreciated, man. Thank you very much. Holy shit. Appreciate it. What a legend. Yeah, I do think with the Godot, I think it's just that GDScript is its own language, and once again, I feel like it's probably not as much documentation and stuff about it. That's the main reason. Or like tutorial stuff like that. Otherwise, I think it's probably, to be fair, it's probably a more user-friendly language compared to C#. But yeah, like in the end, take everything I say with a bit of like a grain of salt or a scoop of salt, maybe even a shovel. Like, you know, I haven't tried GDScript or Godot myself, so these are just my assumptions, basically. I'm a pretty early beginner with Godot. You probably already know Red Rocker. You can C# or GDScript. Yeah, I think the main thing about that for me is that in the end, Godot is built for GDScript, isn't it? So I feel like it doesn't make, even though they have support for C#, it feels like, isn't it like arguably better to use GDScript? I don't know. I've gone with GDScript. Such a thing for me at the moment is the lack of IntelliSense, but in a way I guess that forces me to scan docs to learn. Well, that's definitely a point that can be made. Not sure. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever you decide on going for, Spook, I think you should just try it out and stick with it for a while, and you know, especially if you have some earlier experience, I think you'll do all right. You're probably not gonna struggle as much as I did in the beginning, but yeah, I believe in you. Just go for it. And once again, thank you very much for that subscription, man. It is much appreciated. Yeah, we'll see what the future holds. Maybe I will switch to Godot at some point. Okay, let's see now if this works. Oh, I had to actually start the game. Once again, slight jump scare warning. We should be fine because I don't think the flashlight is on, but theoretically there could be a jump scare here. Let's see, he's gonna walk, he's gonna appear, stop and look in. Now he's gonna continue off. And we should be able to check the monster. This should never go above 150. Which it just did. And he keeps on walking. Keeps on going away. Bye now. Bye forever now. Why are you doing this? Why are you not turning around? Yeah, I think I'll go for Unity. C# has been around since I was a kid. I'm nearly 40 now. If you want to do anything, you can be guaranteed there's 100 different ways, both good and bad, on Stack Overflow. Yeah, for sure. Is it weird that I've almost never been on Stack Overflow? I know what it is, but as someone who started with zero knowledge, you know, I basically started off watching tutorials on YouTube, and you know, and then now when I need to know something, I often end up asking ChatGPT. It is a little bit of a crutch, but that is the way it is. Otherwise, it seems like Stack Overflow is such like a classic platform for programmers. I dabbled a little bit in Godot years ago when GDScript was chill. I definitely wouldn't use the other languages because I think the devs care more about GDScript. Yeah, that's kind of the way I see it. I feel like if they have their own language, it feels like a like less optimal decision to pick something they have support for, but as you said, might not care as much for. yeah, I still think that Godot is onto something really good, and I think they're definitely gonna get there. Like, in the end, like, open software can actually become really good. Just look at Blender. It's the typical thing I think about. Like, Blender is open source and it's like the industry standard for 3D modeling. And who knows, I think it's very much a possibility that Godot will end up being a ginormous industry standard in the future. But I don't think maybe that day is now, and for me, I feel like it makes more sense working in Unity, and then maybe switch once Godot has come even further. But I don't want to dissuade anyone who wants to work with, like, if you want to develop in Godot, I think you should just go for it, and there's nothing bad about it. It's just that, like, yeah, you might not have the same amount of learning content. That's the main thing for me, you know. Highest value metric for me is the platform that gets me to the finished product the fastest, which is usually the one I'm most knowledgeable in and the one with lots of material on. Yeah, that's kind of the way I view, especially now, the way I view Unity, because not only is it easier for me to find material, but I've also just gotten to the point where I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable in Unity. So for me, it seems like it would be a major setback to switch now, you know? Yeah, Stack Overflow is the ChatGPT before ChatGPT. That's a good way of putting it. Kind of like a newspaper for code. ChatGPT can still give you some cracking hilarious errors. So definitely. You can't trust it too much, that's for sure. I'll always advocate for open source versus a private company, proven to be greedy, but everyone has their own individual needs. No, I agree. Like I said, that the thing that makes me really respect Godot is the fact that they are open source, and I would really like to support that, and that's why I keep being very clear about the fact that it's very possible that I could end up switching in the future. I just think that at this specific moment in time, it doesn't make as much sense for me. So for now, I'm going to stick with Unity. Yeah, the C# means I don't need a learning curve unless I'm doing some gaming specific code. I opened Unity yesterday for the first time and just looked at it blankly. Okay, yeah, nah, but if you have some knowledge with C#, just for me, like, okay, learning an engine always takes a little bit of time, learning how everything works, but for me, the most difficult thing was learning C# because I didn't know how to program. So I think going in with the knowledge in C# is going to be a huge advantage for you. Okay, the monster still walked past. Why? Are you not set up correctly from the beginning? Let's see, you're not stopped and you are not walking left, which means you're walking right. That should be right. This target position, oh no, it's the first target position is too high. If I put 150 here, that's the issue. That should be the issue. I didn't remember that I actually have a set target position from the get-go, and then it starts randomizing how far it's gonna go. So now, if we start the game, this probably should work. I'm 99% sure that was the issue. So once again, I realized that it's not an error where the computer does something weird and unexpected. It's me telling the computer to do something I don't want. Yeah, now we turn around. He's gonna look in again. Then he's gonna pick a new target position, minus 113. Walk over there. Boom, turn around. Okay, it's working. Sweet. I feel it. Just don't get stuck in tutorial hellspook and get hands-on with it. Always better to learn by breaking stuff. I agree. Like Sharpie did today with his scaling. Yeah, you don't like my spread out items everywhere in the fucking scene. I think this looks wonderful in my opinion. And also, this one technically shouldn't have this width anymore. You should be like... Imagine if this instantly fixes everything. I don't think it will, but 320, 180. Okay, no wait, something else must be scaled. Because why would you not end up being centered? Oh, because the objects inside aren't centered. Yeah, because you are still scaled up, but I think this arrow gets there because of all these objects. Never mind. It's very mind-mappy. That's actually a good way of putting it. Like when to scatter the Lego everywhere to find one piece, yeah. It's okay, leave it as is and ask the player to zoom out a little. Yeah, exactly, that should be fine. Yeah, we'll just put a bunch of Easter eggs outside of the scene and see if someone can manage to like hack the game and be able to fix it. Oh, I think the flashlight is probably going to be a bit messy now, isn't it? Yeah, it's gonna move too much. So we actually do need to change that as well. Because right now we do cursor position times 2, which means that if we do the cursor position if we would just do that, we would halve it, so if we do that divided by 3, it should be correct. And this is times 5. How do I do times 5 divided by 6? I mean, technically speaking, the lazy way is to just divide this afterwards, and it would be right. But that feels like we could almost just say that... set it to the Y position, and we should almost be fine. What's this game jam you're doing? Yeah, so it's the one that Red Raka linked to there. It's the gamedev field guide monthly game jam. So it's a month-long game jam for the GDFG podcast. What's up, Satsidak? How you doing? Welcome, man. How are you this day? Yeah, look at that. That seems fine. All good, how about you? I'm doing good as well. We just broke the game a little bit, so everything in the scene is a bit scattered, but it's going to make it easier in the future. Lovely. What percentage of ad revenue do I get for every ad game jam? Dude, theoretically you could get my entire ad revenue. My ad revenue at the moment is at like $0.02, I think, is what I've made since I started streaming again from ad revenue. So, you know what, if you want those 2 cents, Raka, it's almost fine. Like, I could see myself just handing them to you. Let's just say that technically speaking, I've already paid you more than that. It's okay, you know my PayPal. Let's see, is even this gonna be messed up like the Big Rug 1? That actually seems to land in the correct spot. That's good. Yeah, that looks right. Sweet. So that one we don't need to move. However, the trapdoor, I guess... Okay, they are both fucked. So we need to move this one first. Boom. I'm gonna select both of them. We're gonna turn this one off, turn this one on. And you should be something like... that, maybe? Trapdoor open, go away, and then we cover you up with the big rug. So yeah, this is basically what we are going to need to do, just slowly rework everything. Why? Oh no, why is the positioning over here now? That's odd. Oh, is it because... Okay, so if I take all of these and I move them more here, it would end up being a bit more... No? Okay, it is slowly fixing itself. I don't know why this matters really, but it's just nice to know that it is somewhat centered in the parent object. So you're saying I've been paid in advance for the next 250 years? Nice, yeah, basically. He expects you to live a long time, indeed, indeed. I'm only here for a good time though. Okay, something like so. It's highly annoying that this is... Because now if I center this by 0, it's actually not completely centered. Oh, so what we need to do is make sure that these two are centered. And then we just fix the other one, right? Let's leave it like that for now, that's right. We'll do like pixel perfection a bit later on. Happy long time. Yeah, this is going to be a good decision though. I should have done this earlier. I really should have. Whoops, the box seems a little bit messed up. Oh no, is Raka not liking the non-pixel perfection? I'm sorry for anyone with slight OCD tendencies, but I do want to get this stuff in place relatively quick. Oh my god, look at this. What's happened? Okay, box closed. Let's center you in the parent transform. And then we take the open box. And we are going to put you right about here. Take away the closed one and make sure that the inside is put in the correct position as well, which would be there. Now take away that one, do the closed one, and fuck! And reposition. Sweet, only 17 objects to go, and then this will be pretty much done so that we can continue with the fun stuff. Oh wait, inventory, I should be able to pick the entire inventory, right? Let's do something where we like center the inventory button. And then we take the inventory grid. Is this the first level or are you doing a new one? No, we're still doing the first level. I'm not going to start doing new levels until I have most of the game objects like set up and working. So we started doing a bit of work on the new inventory system here, and also have some new working objects like the crate and the vent actually being like item dependent and that stuff. So I think I'm gonna try to make sure that everything is sort of working in isolation, and then we can use everything as puzzle pieces to build the different levels. But my scaling was a little bit off, that's why we try to fix that now, because it will make it easier in the future, but that did kind of mess up the entire scene a little bit, so we kind of have to reposition everything. Yeah, we also have these new objects. So we have both collectible objects as well as inventory objects, which are now separated, because I think that's gonna make it easier as well. Boom. Those are just for testing. We have a little bit of a vase. Just gonna place you here, which is one of those traps that will alert the monster. Don't know what the light switch is doing over there. I do think, like I said, I think we might actually change the way the light works in the game. Because it is arguably more scary if it's completely dark, isn't it? Oh. The hitbox is not working. Oh no, I can see this box moving. Oh shit. The hitbox is weird, it doesn't take register in the front. Why is that? Is that because like the flashlight isn't fully centered or something? Flashlight. I mean, that looks fine. Front. Oh, the front is a raycast target. Let's remove that, and I think we should be fine. I think so, but then you can't solve the puzzle. Yeah, you can still solve the puzzle. If it's dark. No, but that's the point. It forces you to keep the light on when you're trying to do the puzzle. Because even when the scene was visible, when you turn the flashlight off, you actually can't interact with anything. So even before, you couldn't actually solve the puzzle in darkness, because that would defeat the purpose of the game. It would make it so that there was no reason to ever turn the flashlight on. Whereas now, you can still interact with everything, it's just that it looks a little bit more scary. And it kinda works as well, because the monster's eyes are still not like a actual lit item. Which means that, or lit material rather. So even when it's dark, you can still tell that he's looking into the room. Cracks up the jammer. Now that wouldn't work, because the lightning is set to 0, so I don't think even... that you could have done that before. But now, if you turn up the brightness, you would only affect the flashlight and his eyes. I'm quite sure. Those red eyes are super, yeah, I like him. Oh! Sorry about that one. Sorry about that one. Hey, I have given quite a few disclaimers today. We are working on a horror game. There is going to be accidental jump scares every now and then. It's kind of inevitable. There's sound to it now as well. Yeah. Looked up to that shit. Yeah, it's doing... It made it a lot worse. Does he only come at you if you shine it on him, or just if you have it on? No, you only need to have it on, because like the way I view it is that if the flashlight is on, he would still understand that someone is in the room. So even if you don't shine it on him, he's still gonna get in. So the trick will basically be to make sure that you turn the flashlight off whenever he is about to arrive. But then you need to turn the flashlight on again to be able to actually solve the puzzle. So since the theme of the game jam is safe in the dark, that's kind of how I implemented the theme. Well, I was supposed to ask before, you could still see something in the dark. What? Yes. So before we had the global light to like 0.06. So the scene basically looked like this. So before we could see the scene, even in the dark, just that objects are still not interactable. If I click here, nothing happens. But then with the light on, you can interact with the stuff. But in some regard, I feel like since it is a horror game, isn't it like... doesn't it feel objectively scarier if the stuff that isn't lit up is actually completely dark? I see, I think it's a nice change you did then. Yeah, I do think it's gonna... It does give off more of that creepy vibe, I suppose. But then to, like, accentuate the inventory, we did this little animation, so when you pick up an item, the inventory actually glows for a split second. So to kind of give indication that something happened. That's not supposed to happen. That's interesting, I don't know... Oh yeah, because that item might still be scaled up. It shouldn't be though. Okay, we have to look into that. Maybe show the room as you did before, then fade to dark when the game starts. That's definitely a way to do it. Because then we could still, like, just from the beginning, since the player is gonna like wake up in this room, I was thinking about having one of these like cutscenes where you see like the eyelids opening, you know? And that doesn't work if the room is completely dark. So if we have it like this for like the first cutscene, and then when the game actually starts, you just see it fade to dark. That could be a way to do both of, to get the cutscene and still have pure darkness in the game. Might be a good idea. I am a bit intrigued to why my flashlight isn't working as it's supposed to though. However, I think we're gonna have to fix that next time. It will be, or it has been, and it will end as a little bit of a shorter stream today. I have some other plans, so today won't be one of my usual 9 hours streams that we do otherwise. So I think we're gonna end it here and pick up on Friday, continue fixing the last placements here, and then see if we can continue adding more items and objects and basically keep building upon the game. But if you don't mind, please wait for just a little bit and we'll see if we have someone we can throw a little raid at. We do have Hey Dew doing some game development. His stream is mainly in German though, but he does indeed speak English as well. Let's see, who else do we have? What? No 9-hour stream? I want a refund. Yeah, today is going to be a little bit of a shorter stream, but and probably, to be honest, on Friday will probably end up being a bit of a shorter stream as well. But then next week we will go back to the usual full fucking day streams that we do here on the Chirpy Variety channel that mainly does game dev at the moment, because I'm in a game jam. Okay, let's go and say hello to Heiju. He's been here on the stream quite a few times now. He raided me once before, so let's return the favor. He's also working on one of his games at the moment. So yeah, like I said, like always, thank you guys very much for watching. 18 hours. That might be a bit much. Maybe 16. I might stretch for 16. Yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, like always, and I will see you guys on Friday. So yeah, peace out. Shout out to Spook for that Twitch subscription. Once again, much appreciated. See you guys on Friday. Cheers.
Oh, jetzt geht's aber ab hier. jetzt wollen wir die Einheiten im Prinzip